trying to make this about policy and about gun control. Is this the appropriate time to be doing that?
It's not, only because people don't know how this happened. I mean, who this person is, what motivated them, how did they get a hold of the weapon that they used for this attack. I think it's important to know all of that before you jump to conclusions that there's some law that we could have passed that could have prevented it.
I guess that was Senator Marco Rubio.
Senator Rubio, who would not have been welcome at this table this morning.
No.
By your standards, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah.
But we welcome him anytime he would like to talk about
the actual
policy and issues. We would love to, and he's got a lot of talent.
Whenever it's not too early to talk about it, we'll be happy to have him.
He has a lot of talent, and I wish he would use it on this issue. Joining us now, someone who will talk about this, from Capitol Hill, Democratic Senator Bill Nelson, also from Florida. Is this okay to talk about gun control policy at this time, sir?
Not only to talk about it, but to screw up our resolve to do something about it. Because, again, here is an automatic weapon, an assault rifle. Just look in Florida. Pulse nightclub a couple of years ago. A year ago, the Fort Lauderdale airport, now this, and that's just the state of Florida. So we certainly ought to talk about all the other things that everybody's talking about: mental health, protection at schools, but you can't have an armed camp. But we got to get right down to the nub, and that is, should assault weapons be legal? And you all know the reality. We can't even get, if you're on the terrorist watch list, you shouldn't have a gun. We can't even get that passed. So you see the problem, Mika.
Peggy?
Do you know, it's always hard to do an interview after a day and a night like what you have been through. Let me ask you, Senator, what are you hearing from parents? Just regular things from regular parents. What are you hearing from on the ground? What are you hearing from the educators who were there? Has between the Pulse nightclub shooting and this, has anything changed? Any perception changed? Any sense of how people are experiencing these dramatic circumstances changed?
Yes. After Pulse, it's amazing how the whole Orlando community came together. And the assault weapon was clearly one of the topics. We're all parents, and those are all our children. And if we were the parent of one of those children that died yesterday, we'd be saying, why is it legal to purchase the gun that fired off so many rounds from multiple clips that otherwise my child might be alive? That's what's going through the community, and I can tell you, I've talked to him, the superintendent of schools, Runcie. That's what's going through his mind as well.
Senator Hayes, John Heilman here. I want to ask you this question. I agree with you about assault weapons, all right? So look, we're on the same page about that. But here's the question that I want to get at, which is, why is it that assault weapons are being used so much more frequently in these settings just in the last couple of years than they were 5, 10, 20 years ago? I mean, there's obviously been a ramp up in mass shootings over the course of the last 20, 30 years, but an explosion of them, mass shootings and school shootings, in the last 36 months. What do you think accounts for that? These weapons have been available for a long time, but people are using them more frequently now.
Well, the easy access to them, John. John, you know, I support the Second Amendment. I grew up on a ranch. I've always had guns. I've hunted all my life. I still hunt with my son. But an AR-15 is not for hunting. It's for killing. And these weapons are now so easy to get. And now with all the publicity about them, there's always those out there that now say, well, I want one too. And that's the proliferation of these weapons that we're seeing.
Senator Bill Nelson of Florida, thank you very much for being on this morning.
Thanks, Mika.
Still ahead, the other big story we're following this morning, the Trump administration struggles to get many of its top people permanent security clearance. We'll discuss the significance of that when Morning Joe comes right back.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.